Joining us now, Hyrum Palmer. He's the Deputy Director of the State of Virginia for Concerned Veterans of America. They have urged Congress to waive the veteran bonus repayments in light of investigations exposing fraud and mismanagement at the California National Guard. Roughly 10,000 soldiers in California are being ordered to repay enlistment bonuses given to them by the Pentagon over a decade ago, 10 years ago. Now, if the veterans can't pay the money back, which they thought they were entitled to, the Pentagon plans to charge them interest, garnish their wages, and offer up tax liens to recoup it. The enlistment bonuses were the result of a fraudulent tactic employed by the California National Guard as they scrambled to meet their enlistment goals. Many of the veterans asked to pay back the bonuses served multiple combat terms in Iraq and Afghanistan. Now, hundreds of millions of dollars of fraudulent bonuses have been paid to creepy VA workers who put documents in the garbage, who falsified documents for veterans trying to see a doctor, many of whom died. They got bonuses. Nobody's going after that. They get to keep the money, retire early, get paid, go on vacation. Veterans who put their life at risk in Iraq and Afghanistan, they're going to get their wages garnished. What kind of a government do we have here? What is going on? Try to straighten it out. Hyrum Palmer, Deputy Director, CVA, Virginia. Hyrum, good to have you.
John, great to be with you today. And, I think you did a great job of kind of breaking down what's going on right now. This is a pretty recent story. I mean, the LA Times broke this on Friday. And you're right. I think to be justifiably outraged at this, we see a pattern of behavior on behalf of our government to punish veterans and to let bureaucrats off the hook. And it's disturbing, it's disgusting, and it's just unacceptable.
It is unacceptable. And the thing is, nobody's doing a damn thing about it. That's what the outrage is. And it would be bad enough. First of all, I just want to lay this out. Those that took the bonuses took them legally, right? They saw an ad that said, hey, join the California National Guard and get $5,000 signing bonus. They signed up. They play by the rules. They joined the Guard. They did what they had to do. Then they serve in Afghanistan. Then they serve in Iraq. Then the government comes back and some of these $10,000. Then the government comes back and says, well, the California National Guard really didn't have the authority to do that. And they were fraudulent in meeting their numbers. By the way, those people that met their numbers, they got what for meeting their numbers? A bonus. So they get the bonus, they keep their bonus, and they want the veterans who put their lives at risk to pay it back. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, and John, this is a tip of the iceberg moment. So we're seeing this in California. California has about 17,000 National Guardsmen. I'm an Army National Guardsman myself, so this hits close to home. And this is affecting more than 10,000 veterans. So put that in perspective. 17,000 members of the California National Guard, more than 10,000 National Guardsmen are included in this. So that's a majority of, the total numbers in the California National Guard. Now, obviously, some new folks in the California National Guard today versus 10 years ago. But, it's disturbing. There's an Army Master Sergeant, Tony Jaffe, who was the California Guard incentive manager, back in 2011, pled guilty to filing false claims of $15.2 million, sentenced to 30 months in federal prison. That's great. The people that worked the system, like you said, to kind of line their pockets with performance bonuses. There have been a total of 4 people that have been kind of implicated, or at least, have had to face the music a little bit on this. 3 other officers were pled guilty to fraud and were put on probation after paying restitution. But again, I think that the damning thing here is that the National Guardsmen themselves did nothing wrong. They were accepting hefty reenlistment bonuses when the Army was desperate to keep their numbers up for multiple rotating deployments to combat theaters. The soldiers did nothing wrong. They're now being punished for malfeasance, within the bureaucracy. We look at the VA, and I want to highlight, one lady in particular. She's a great example of why we need to change the VA. Her name's Kimberly Graves. Feel free to look her up online. Kimberly Graves worked the system to an incredible degree. She accepted, or rather worked the system to get a $130,000 relocation bonus for her job, a job which they didn't need her to move for, but she worked the system so that she could make a ton of extra money. She was called to testify before Congress. She was found to have totally broken the law with what she did, but has never had to pay back the bonuses that she received, even while she presided over one of the worst VA hospitals in the nation. So somebody that was at the heart of the VA waitlist scandal, worked the system, built us, you and I, for huge amounts of money, no accountability, got her job back, didn't have to pay back the bonus.
It's unbelievable. She basically defrauds the administration, keeps her job, keeps the money, and a soldier that risked his or her life in Afghanistan or Iraq is getting their wages garnished. It's just, if anybody's out there and didn't think it was time to change this thing, and as Trump says, drain the swamp, and I'm not being partisan, I'm just giving it to you straight. It's unbelievable. Now, CVA is urging members of Congress to act immediately to waive the bonus requirement for the veterans affected by this scandal. So the Concerned Veterans for America is asking Congress basically to just get together and just waive it, right?
Yeah, we're going after veterans, and they've recouped $22 million so far. And $22 million, it's not chump change, but when we look at the billions of dollars that the government wastes, this is petty. It's absolutely petty what they're doing to veterans here. The VA paid out more than $142 million in bonuses just back last year, just in 2015. While scandal was rife within the VA, and yet they forked out 10 times the amount that they're trying to get back from these veterans to folks that didn't deserve it in the VA system. So, unfortunately what I see is a separate and unequal system of treatment for veterans, that veterans are being mistreated, poorly treated by the government, and the folks at the in the swamp, the bureaucrats, they're not having to face the music. They are working the system and getting away with it. And we look at healthcare, the way veterans receive healthcare. Veterans are screwed in the way that they receive healthcare from the VA. They are totally dependent on government bureaucrats for if they get healthcare, when they get healthcare, and more than 500,000 veterans are waiting more than a month just to get scheduled for an appointment so that they can wait more time to see a doctor. Employees at the VA, they don't use the VA. Employees at the VA get private, subsidized healthcare from the government. That is a separate and unequal treatment of veterans. It's consistent with the way they're treated with bonuses, consistent with the way they're treated with healthcare. We need to change it all.
It is unbelievable. Now, for more information to get involved here, go to cv4a.org, cv4a.org, and we're with Hyrum Palmer, and he is the Deputy Director for Concerned Veterans for America in Virginia. Also want to bring attention to our listeners that Concerned Veterans for America opposes the Veterans First Act. Even these names, the Veterans First Act, it's actually Bureaucrats First Act, not Veterans First Act, which would remove limits for VA employee bonuses and simultaneously puts bureaucrats' interest ahead of veterans' needs. This is the Veterans First Act. Hyrum, this stuff is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's frustrating. As an Army veteran myself, again and again and again, we see elected representatives who are at the beck and call of powerful unions like the AFGE. They wrap themselves in the cloak of veterans and passion and patriotism for our country, and they're really just trying to line their pockets. So if whoever's listening right now, I urge you, reach out to your elected representatives. Let them know if they're going to support crony legislation like the Veterans First Act, that they don't deserve your vote. They can call bills what they want, but when a bill like that is seeking to just remove limitations on so-called performance bonuses for VA bureaucrats, that's disgusting. When a veteran is dying while waiting for health care at the VA, nobody should be getting bonuses. Nobody should be getting bonuses. And that's the reality we have here. More than 300 veterans died just in the Phoenix VA system. Just in one healthcare system, more than 300 veterans died because they did not receive the health care they were promised and deserved. Wait lists are worse than they were 2 years ago. So while the VA has increased their budgets by $67 billion, the problems are getting worse. They shell out your taxpayer money for expensive modern art installations in their hospitals. The bureaucrats that are supervising the construction of the VA hospital in Denver, it's gone more than $1 billion over budget, more than double over budget, and they receive performance bonuses. I don't know what world we live in anymore where this is acceptable to us, where it's acceptable to our government, but it needs to change. And CVA, Concerned Veterans for America, we're calling for your help, your passion, your participation to make sure that this does change. Get involved, be a part of the solution, and not just a part of the problem.
So how do people get involved, Hyrum?
That's a great question. CVA, we have a ground organization throughout the state. We have full-time local directors that are probably in your community. We have great local directors in Norfolk and Tidewater, Richmond, you name it, we're there. And right now we are trying to get 300,000 non-voting veterans to participate in the election. So we, here in Virginia, we've made over 100,000 calls already. So find us on Facebook. You can find us at Concerned Veterans for America, Virginia. You can visit our website. Reach out to us, and we're on Twitter as well. So you can find us. We're involved. We'll put you to work, making sure that veterans' voices are heard in this election. And together, collectively, we can change things for the better. We can be a part of the solution.
All right, Hyrum, I want to thank you for that update. More info, go to cv4a.org. Hyrum, thanks for being with us.
My pleasure. Thanks, John.